serious. This guy preps a lot. He's grinding all the time, streaming, competing in other types of tournaments outside of Grandmasters, really trying to make that pro Hearthstone player dream become a reality. And almost kind of represents that new wave of competitors from Latin America, which I love to see. Very passionate about his craft. And he's going up against one of the grizzled veterans of the scene for a long time. And I would like to see Rami take this win. Even though Firebat's my friend, I know that Firebat is going to be okay no matter what. But for Rami, I feel like this is his time, so to speak, right? Like, he really wants to get that win.
Yeah.
And for so long, he didn't. The first 3 weeks, he was struggling. Lowest point or earner and lowest win record out of the 16 players.
Yeah.
But now in Division B, has a chance to maybe separate himself from the pack with this opportunity to go 3-1. And for someone so dedicated and passionate, I would love to see that happen, even though I'd be more than happy to see Firebat take the win.
Yeah. And Rami, resorting to comfort, I feel a lot with his deck choices. He's brought similar lists each week. Malagos Druid and Soul Demon Hunter seem to be the 2 decks that he loves the most. And being a Soul Demon Hunter connoisseur, which is the deck that I believe he primarily climbed to rank 1 legend with, he's adopted the new techs a lot quicker than many of the other Americas players. He does have a single pen flinger in his Soul Demon Hunter list, which hopefully we'll be able to watch a little bit of later. He's also shown some nice prowess on the Malagos Druid throughout the couple weeks that we've watched him in round robin. So definitely things to note.
Yes, very much so. Of course, your cash on 2, not really too much to think about here as Firebat sets up for the Wrench Caliber. Bomb Warrior is at its best when your opponent wants to draw a lot of cards and do a lot of nothing besides that.
Yep. And he's
Rami
got a great follow-up to this as well with double cutting class after the Wrench Caliber's played. Very likely to pick up some additional weapon buffs to keep those Wrench Caliber swings going. You like to see that. Rami not finding any of the ramp early on outside of Lightning Bloom, but he's still ways away from being able to make a powerful play onto the board. So just another hero power and pass, which, like you said, exactly what Firebat wants to see, especially with this opening.
Yeah, the card draw really helps cement in what Warrior's trying to do. The card draw has been really plentiful for Warrior because of Battle Rage and whatnot, and Cutting Clash just kind of really helps put it over the top and maybe even lets you start choosing different kinds of ways to build Warrior decks, which is, the primary motivator for why a lot of these Warrior decks have so many different hybridizations of builds. You see, like, Bomb Warrior, for example, sometimes play complete control package, like with Shield Slams, a bunch of removals, and not a lot of card draw, and that's largely because Cutting Class can be super powerful as a way to just get through your deck efficiently while still keeping up your resources. Ooh, speaking of resources, 4 cards available for Rami to draw this turn if he wants to. It's a little bit tricky because he would be at full hand capacity, so he ends up not drawing with his second Twilight Runner. What do you think about that, TJ?
Well, I don't think he wants to dump a Moonfire because a lot of times you need that extra damage, and if you do attack here into the Skyvateer, you're very vulnerable to Bladestorm. Whereas if you keep it stealth, Bladestorm's a little bit awkward. So I think the possibility of overdrawing or having to burn a moon or having to dump a Moonfire, as well as just leaving your board incredibly vulnerable, I like the hold. Just makes a lot of sense. Even if you don't consider the card draw, it makes a lot of sense.
I can get behind that. Firebat probably thinking about if he wants to just Bladestorm here. He is. And then swing of the weapon. Doesn't seem like he was primarily motivated to use his Lord Barov. I am a little bit interested in how Firebat chooses to use all of these weapon swings here. Is he just gonna prioritize the next turn, or is he gonna try to find an opportunity to drop Blastmaster Boom? Rami with his overload is Still not able to really commit to an attack with his
Yeah.
Twilight Runner, which is kind of weird, right? Like we use the term embarrassment of riches a lot of times in Hearthstone, and I feel like this actually does feel in a weird way like just being too rich. Like there's just too many cards for him to hold. His hand can only have so many cards in it right now.
Yeah. And again, I just don't think you want to dump Moonfires. I mean, I would say normally that there's not much that this would be vulnerable to if he leaves it behind, if he leaves it stealth, but unfortunately there is, because Firebat's playing Risky Skipper, which means that, you know, he has a pretty clean play next turn of just attack with Wrench Caliber, Risky Skipper, and Horde Pillager to get that weapon back. Which, you know, it's not the most devastating thing in the world for Rami, but because he already has a full hand and it's seemingly harder and harder for him to dump cards without ramp, it doesn't allow him to have even the option to draw cards to find that ramp. So, nice setup. And now the bomb's starting to rack up. Rami's starting to take some pretty meaningful damage and does find Innervate, so can start dumping cards, but just no beast left. So Guardian Animals is dead. Just has to put something in the way. And this probably will have to be a Moonfire dumped because he can't afford to leave, I think, this 4-1 on board, because it'll just contest the Teacher's Pet effectively by itself.
Right. Too much of that permanent ramp being in the bottom half of his deck so far. And I like that Firebat was able to be as aggressive as he is to just make things awkward for Rami. Having that second Risky Skipper means that he still has a contingency plan for Lord Barov, but right now, I mean, this looks like a great Last Master Boom opportunity.
Yeah.
I actually am okay with swinging into the Teacher's Pet first to do it, but I know that Firebat probably wants to swing with his weapon at the minion that pops out of it if it ends up surviving.
Yeah. There's also like the argument of, do you even keep the boombots around to try and get recurring damage? Yeah, and he is going to do that. I don't think there's a meaningful reason to pop the boombots now, because he's not like in a rush to kill him.
Yep, that's fair. Totally fair, and you know, this obviously looks still super intimidating. So, nice spot here to not get too crazy about combo damage and just make sure you still impose onto the board. And Rami is stuck in a tough spot right now.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a good way out of this one. Especially since he's at the point now where it doesn't even feel great to draw cards because there's just so many bombs in the deck. At this point in the game, there are 4 bombs. So just about a quarter of his deck. A little less. But that's still scary. Scary proposition to draw deeper in, especially with all these boombots on board, only at 18 health. That can quickly turn into death.
I'll make you a real toy.
Okay.
Goes for... Okay, finds Omu and Alexstrasza. He's going for an opportunity to maybe counter lethal here. But Firebat has a very high chance of killing this turn.
Yeah.
Shield block.
Yeah.
So let's trade with his Boombot first and see what happens.
Yeah, so he has 10 damage. He could attack with all the Boombots. Oh, that's a 1-health minion. That's perfect.
Right, so you can shield block, shield slam the Geppetto Joy Buzz.
Then
and trade into the Diamond Griffin.
Yeah, and then Risky Skipper plus Sky Raider, which I think is guaranteed lethal.
Is it? Very close.
Yeah, he shield slams this, then attacks in. He deals at least 1, puts him down to 17, and attacks for 4.
For 14. Yes, you are correct. It is guaranteed lethal.
Yeah, because
nice
he gets
call
4
out.
Boombots. Yep.
Someone's gotta lead the charge.
That'll do it. Firebat takes game number 1. A very tough matchup here for the Malagos Druid when it gets to this kind of start for it, when it gets a bunch of bombs shuffled in and you're always kind of scared you don't hit the ramp. I mean, that's not for any matchup for Druid. When your opponent's like putting out that much pressure and you're drawing a ton of cards without actually needing any ramp, that stays permanently. But that does bring us to our final break of today here as Firebat gets his first win, and Rami will have to see if he can go back to the drawing board here. So we're going to take a few minutes to get set, and when we come back, the conclusion of day 1 here for week 6 of Hearthstone Grandmasters.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.
I only have one item to a deserted island.
The one object I would take to the deserted island would be a bottle of water.
I would probably take Zalay with me to the deserted island. He seems like a guy that'd be really good in survival situations.
I just want to bring my laptop with the data.
Can I carry a boat? Does that work?
And who knows, maybe he's got other items on him, and then those can count as like bonus items. Or hopefully he's not just showing up naked, right? Like, so he's at least got clothes to work with, and maybe there's something in his pockets.
I think my girlfriend would technically count. I'd probably take her with me.
Si tuviera que llevar un objeto a una isla desierta para poder sobrevivir, sería un machete.
You know, 2 heads together is better than 1, and I'm sure we'd figure our way out of the desert island that way. If not, I can eat him, right? So there you go.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hearthstone Grandmasters. We're currently in the middle of our 5th and final series today, as Firebat's currently up 1-0 over Rami after a pretty cut and dry game number 1 with Bomb Warrior and the Malagos Druid going head-to-head. Going into game number 2, Firebat still has his Druid and his Demon Hunter remaining. It is Malagos Druid and Demon Hunter, so kind of similar decks here as we go through the final series here. Firebat does have Malagos Druid, and it doesn't seem to be too particularly outside of the norm. Firebat does appreciate like small little text, but nice and lean and clean. He does have 1 copy of Wild Growth and 1 copy of that Germination, and that 1 copy of Overflow. But everything else, does end up making a pretty nice and efficient 2 package along with those legendaries.
Yes, it does. This is the kind of decks that I love.
2x2?
Efficiency.
Ooh, look at that hand, though.
Look at both. Firebat's
Oh, yeah, you're
lacking
right.
something in particular, but I would have
Kept the Gidra.
kept the Gidra.
Wow.
Just because of the incredibly high upside that Gidra into Overgrowth can deal. I guess with the coin, it makes things a little bit awkward. If you're not on coin, it makes a lot more sense because then you have like a much better curve of Gidra on 3 to Overgrowth on 4. But a lot of times with coin, you're doing fancier things. And I guess if you're keeping Nature Studies, you're playing Overgrowth on 3 and not Gidra on 3. But I guess that makes sense. I stand corrected.
Yeah, I guess he's just mainly following the curve that he feels like he's going to most likely have if he has an opportunity to get this Guardian Animals out quickly. But, I mean, what does Rami know, right? He's only like rank 1 legend for a week. So.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh, Lightning Bloom and Overgrowth that can work pretty well with Firebat, and he does have the ability for next turn to go for Nature Studies and maybe find Guardian Animals, and that would discount it for his 6 mana turn.
Yeah.
Could be just peachy if that was what Firebat was aiming for.
No.
So Malygos Druid mirrors end up getting a little bit weird sometimes. Obviously, there's the blowout hands where you can just kind of run away with it. Looking at... Ooh, actually, this is really interesting. Glowfly Swarm is particularly curious to me because you can play the Overflow next turn and then Glowfly Swarm to get board presence on 7. Rising Wind is just like versatile.
Yeah, it's just like the Glowflies. There's not really much follow-up to them. In Malygos Druid, where even if you get 5 or 6, like they tend to get picked apart by like Lake Threshers and just Guardian Animals in general. Even like in the Europe series earlier in the day, it was a Survival Druid mirror, but kind of similarly, Boar got like a Forest Aid, and the tokens just seemed pretty lackluster in the the grand scheme of things. So even though it seems like it has high upside, I feel like it doesn't do enough. But Rising Winds is not much better, right? Especially since you're already drawing cards. Like it's a couple 3/2s for about the same amount of mana as a bunch of 2/2s.
Right. And also Lake Thresher is in the deck for Rami as well, which is not in every single Malygos Druid deck list. It's an actual tech for individual matches where he feels like that Lake Thresher is going to be important compared to the second Teacher's Pet, which many people choose to opt into for defensiveness since Malygos Druid tends to get bowled over early. A lot easier than Survival Druid does because you have less plays to come back onto the board with, say, no animated broomsticks. Innervate into...
Oh, okay.
Malygos for 1. Oh, goodness gracious.
With Omu in hand, so a lot of potential for this hand to really ramp up with some burn damage. Problem is he only has a Moonfire right now. But that's pretty good. I was going to say, Geppetto is not that high value in this spot because he hasn't played Guardian Animals yet. And he still has like the Twilight Runners left in the deck. He still had the Teacher's Pet left in the deck, which he did hit, 1 Teacher's Pet. But hitting Malygos is probably the best case scenario for that Geppetto, which is even more insane by the fact that there were actually a ton of minions still left in the deck.
Well, I do like the fact that Firebat just threw out the Innervate because he doesn't want to burn a really important spell. I like that he also didn't play the Teacher's Pet because of the Clave, Definitely aligned there. Firebat needs to make sure that Rami doesn't set up too big of a board. Rami draws twice with the Breath of Dreams, doesn't hit a dragon either time. He's got a lot of cheap spells in the hand, right? Almost all of his front-loaded ramp. Nature studies for tree enforcements. Just to give you an idea of how awkward things have been lately for Rami.
Yeah. And he does get to dump a little hand space for this Twilight Runner. Bees gets to keep 2 of these bees around. So overall, pretty impactful board. It's just, he doesn't quite have the follow-up.
Wow.
Wait a second.
Wow. I mean, he's just gonna be able to combo him, right? Well, Malygos isn't a 4/12, so it's still like you can just use this for tempo.
Yeah. So you don't absolutely have to use it for the kill. I like just using it for the tempo here because Malygos is 1 mana.
Right.
Like, no matter which way you slice it, Malygos plus double swipe, double Moonfire is 30 just by itself.
Right. I'm kind of intrigued by the fact that he went for the Omu so aggressively, though, because the Breath of Dreams... I guess he had 8 mana, right? So there's no guarantee. Oh my.
Yeah, he had 8 mana. And there wasn't, like, as much follow-up there, right? Like, I don't know.
He wants to dump his hand.
How he's faced this.
Swipe Germination.
Germination.
So now he
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Malygos times 2, and then Swipe and Moonfire deals 25.
Yeah.
It's okay if he's at full cards, because most likely he should have the burn finished, especially if the minion sticks on board. Firebat set this up really nicely, and Rami can only swipe to try and hope to survive. And the nasty thing is, 1, 2, 3. Oh man, that's
It wouldn't have been.
I don't think this is lethal.
No, it's not. And it wouldn't have been lethal with the lightning boom because he would only have been able to squeeze out an extra hero power. He wouldn't have been able to squeeze out another swipe.
Right.
With the germination.
Is it worth doing? Is it worth doing at all just to deny the card draw? Your opponent's kind of showing an act of desperation here, and your opponent also just showed a swipe, which means that 2 Malygos is a little bit tricky to deal with. Also, asking for something more than swipe to deal 14 damage beyond that is asking a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really doesn't get too much better than this. Very close to lethal, but Rami looks like he is struggling here. Oh,
Holy.
just the worst possible draw.
I concede.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's game 2. Firebat wins the Malygos Druid Mirror off of a very powerful setup, and the Repetitive Joyba, as you can see, like why it's considered to be a very powerful card, because when it hits, it hits real hard.
Yeah, that's kind of a rough one from Rami. His opening hand was quite good, but just didn't find the follow-up. Like, he had Overgrowth into Guardian Animals, which is what you want. It's just, once you hit that Guardian Animals, you need to keep the ball rolling. And he wasn't able to do that. But just nice setups there from Firebat. Players can oftentimes tunnel on, like, OTK combo, especially in the mirror. But, like, going for Omu there and Breath of Dreams, opening up his options, just be able to play for super tempo and then follow that up with combo damage. Really smart. Just kind of a wise play given the circumstances. And even though, he didn't have lethal with the combo turn that he went for, it was essentially lethal because he forced Rami to have to deal with that. And then if he does deal with it, Firebat can then follow up with, like, Ysera Unleash and then draw cards. And then Rami would have never been able to stabilize enough to win the game. So it's pretty much a checkmate scenario at that point, even though it wasn't a direct kill.
You have
And now,
much to answer
Firebat,
for.
only deck he has remaining, is the Soul Demon Hunter. And this is kind of Rami's pet deck, the Soul Demon Hunter, is, so he should know how to play against it. But sometimes knowing how to play against it does not necessarily mean you're going to win against it. You still need to piece together the resources that you want. Malagos Druid does have a good amount of healing. They can put threats that are big enough on the board to where Soul Demon Hunter can't deal with it. It's just, do they have the time to do so against Soul Demon Hunter, which is just trying to smack you in the face?
I mean, Soul Demon Hunter doesn't really give you a lot of time to set up, but one thing that does help is when they are stalled out and they don't have early minion development.
So, Rami on the play kept Lightning Bloom with no guardian animals and no ramp, no hard ramp like no Overgrowth or Breath of Dreams. I know that's kind of a popular argument among Druid players and just players in general, but I don't like that. I would rather look for the additional ramp, nature studies, Breath of Dreams, that kind of thing, than have a Lightning Bloom in hand. But we'll be able to get an early Lake Thresher down. Just will he be able to capitalize on that? Because Lightning Bloom is still a pretty high win rate card on the play. It's just not one of the highest, right? Like Guardian Animals,
yeah, certainly
Overgrowth, Breath of Dreams are much higher. So that's my argument.
Okay, I can buy it. I buy. Time to get the dragon, Rami. Chase the dragon. Oh, get it. Well, he still has the Innervate, so he can play Teacher's Pet, then Innervate Guardian Animal, so that ends up being a pretty nice pickup. Meanwhile, Wandmaker, finally some minion presence for Firebat. Ooh, time to get Refa. Refa! That just doesn't roll off the tongue, TJ.
Yeah,
I gotta really stop trying to make that a
Ruff
thing.
sounds better.
God, I feel like I'm trying to just say fetch from Mean Girls or something.
Alright, Teacher's Pet. Rami just has to hope that he doesn't draw. He's got 2 Twilight Runners in the deck. Those are his only 2 beasts remaining. He's got to hope he doesn't draw one of those off the top. If he doesn't, his hand's looking pretty decent because he's got Guardian Animals. He's going to draw a bunch of cards. And then he'll be in that Bog Beam territory. So, Force Warden Omu.
Impatient.
He's got things to open this game up. It's just how much time is Firebat going to give him. And I like the hold on the Kane here. This is the only Teacher's Pet, the only natural taunt in the deck. There also is no Iron Bark in Rami's list, but just trying to piece together those extra bits of damage I think is important. Oh, he drew the Twilight Runner!
No. Okay, well. Well, I mean, you still can rip it, right?
Yeah, it gives Firebat a lot of information. Well, not too much. It gives him just the information that a Twilight Runner's in hand, but it just feels so bad. But yeah, you don't really have a choice.
Shake of the head. Rami knows it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a big deal. Drawing 2 cards versus 4, having additional 5-4 or 5-2 on the board, I guess, because you would trade it, and leaving up Refa, the worst of it all. Oh, will the terror ever end? Skull Gul'dan.
This one was not meant to be for Rami, Dan.
I mean, hold on.
I'm holding on.
I mean, the discounts on things like Spirit Jailer isn't super important, and he already has a lot of weapon charges, so it's not like the Adraki Warblade is like anything deterministic here in a really meaningful way. You're really looking for things like the Lapidary and the Shatter Mystic for like these really powerful tempo swings. Late Dance going down to 0. the best thing he can do is actually just re-equip another weapon right now.
Yeah.
But like even then, he's not really serviced. He's not really like serviced too much by doing that, because by doing so, you kind of reveal range to your opponent. When part of what makes Gullible Dance so powerful is that it makes your hand really hard to play around, because there's a lot of different possibilities with a very wide range. So.
Fair.
Okay, so for Rami's perspective, what can we do here?
I mean, he could Lightning Blow out the Malagos and, try and go
Bog
for... Well, I was thinking Omu next turn and use the Bog Beam with the Omu. Reset the mana crystals and try and go for a big play.
Okay,
Because
I don't mind that.
Malagos is pretty
I like
protected. It is very difficult, even with skull discount cards, to find the damage to actually kill a Malagos. That's 12. We look at Firebat's hand, he has 4, 5, 6, 10, 11 damage, so he actually would be able to kill it, but it'd be a lot of resources. And yeah,
Not
actually,
like
because
a true 12.
what?
Blade Dance, you just need 6 with Blade Dance. You just swing at it.
6 with Blade Dance, but he doesn't have a Blade Dance.
Fair enough.
I think you have to take the risk. Did I say he doesn't have a Blade Dance?
Yes, you did.
Well,
and you
now
were
he does.
correct. It's really good that you said that 3 seconds before you probably wanted to, because it would have been false. Firebat picks up the Blade Dance off the top. And without Malagos to do anything, your Druid deck is a very average mid-range Druid deck. Oh no, Rami, he is not having it.
Nope.
Oh jeez. This does not look like a series that Rami was destined to win. Everything is coming up bat.
Yep.
And here's a crazy part. He can develop tempo. He can play Glaive Bat Adept. Now that's Skull Gul'dan right there. Okay, so you know how I said that the cards that he hit weren't super duper impactful? Well, Blade Dance tied all of that together really nicely, and you can see how dramatic these big tempo swings are in this matchup in particular. And Rami now has not a lot going for him. He can Force Warden Omu, play his hand, which is great.
Nature speaks.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a weak turn, but it's just like now he's, essentially out of healing. He does have a good amount of healing left in the deck. Actually, no, scratch that. He cuts Crystal Powers for Bog Beam. I have to mention that. So he basically has Overflow. And Firebat doesn't look like he's stopping damage anytime soon. Well, I don't know. Maybe, let's see. Yeah, he doesn't have like 15 pieces together in hand, but can find that with the Wand Maker. How much does he want to respect this board? I think is another question.
The Speak a Gidra Wind Fury minion, I think you probably want to err on the side of caution. Just try to kill it with your hero power.
Well, that's awkward. Kane is not a demon. Philosophy useless in this situation.
Yeah.
Has to kill this, but that's a lot of damage that's been sunk into minions. Rami has some very good draws off the top, notably Overflows, Hug Beam. Yikes.
Twilight Runner is nice.
Yeah, Twilight Runner is nice.
But I mean, Rami's all in. This is, I mean, he has a way to reload, so it's not all in. It's not like he can't do anything else besides this. But it will turn into a race. Oh my goodness. Soul Shard Lapidary off the top here for Firebat. Not to mention he has the Adraki Warblade to give him extra healing. And if it is a race, looks like Firebat welcomes it. Now the question becomes, is it worth pushing this 2 damage to the face, or is it worth trading here to preserve that Lapidary and force the trade on your opponent's end?
With just a hero power, he has lethal setup next turn with 7 from hand.
Yes.
As weird as it sounded, I would have preferred if Rami had actually traded the 5-1 over the 2-2 on the previous turn, just because
I grow impatient.
it just feels like the
you think
damage
so?
doesn't matter that much. You're going to win by having overwhelming board presence at some point. You don't have Malakos anymore. Your burn damage is limited. Like just giving yourself like maybe one additional turn to find those boards with Ysera Unleash, Overflow, that type of thing. But Firebat does trade. Still has some damage left in his deck. So we see what the draw is first from the Twilight Runner, I suppose. So
He
left
really
in-
wants Rami to trade his 5-4 into the 5-5 before he can make any meaningful decision, and then he has no minions, and that's exactly what Firebat was gambling on.
Bite!
Bite is healing.
Oh my gosh.
Overgrowth, draw a card.
Yep.
Thinking about it draws you Sarah, and you might want to immediately play this excess mana after that.
Yeah.
I
I
like
think you
playing the
hold on
bite.
to it. Yeah, I think you hold on to it. Just give yourself one more turn.
Yeah, I like playing the bite. I think because it just basically gets that card out, and you need to heal and you need to stall. Firebat finds Blade Dance. So
I feel like this is going to be a weird game. Both players are essentially going to be playing off the top. Looking at Firebat actually has 7 Soul Fragments in his deck. So he only has 11 cards actually remaining, but included in those, the Social is just Militia, which actually synergizes really well. He's got Skull, he's got Gladebound, he's got Soul Shard, he's got Altruist, Marl Slicer. Like, he's got a lot of damage packed into his deck. And, you know, Soul Fragments being drawn just means he gets closer to that damage.
Rami goes for the excess mana. Finds
Geppetto.
Geppetto Joy Buzz.
So it's
But if he
guaranteed...
does, he doesn't kill the Cane.
It's Alexstrasza, Ysera, and Zixor.
I'll make you a real
Zixor would summon 1/1 copies of itself. Alexstrasza to gain 8 life. That's huge.
Yeah. It is quite big.
I bring life and hope.
There's a Sociologist.
Militia.
7 Soul Fragments. That's a full board.
What's actually so nutty about this too is, I mean, that's just a lethal setup.
Yep.
I wonder if it's worth Blade Dancing here at all. Probably not. Just set it
Yeah,
up.
they have Rush anyway. Well, I mean, what is he going to do that's going to clear off all these 3/3s?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he could get like
Oh,
Malagos
no.
from Dream Portals. He needs like
Okay,
needs
Dream
spell
Portal?
damage from Dream Portals.
Okay, Dream Portal.
Spell damage. Oh
Yeah, oh my
What?
god! What?
What?
That is insane! Oh my god.
What about
Build
that
your own
too?
Malagos. Build your own Malagos. That's
Like a Germination and then swipe face.
Yeah.
Actually, you might wait to Germinate. The face damage doesn't matter.
Oh.
You want a bigger taunt. Yeah, this is... What is happening? And
Wow! Oh
Soul
my
Shard,
gosh!
Lapidary, and Blade Dance. What?
Fire draws! But, I mean, if I have to pick a position, I definitely would choose Rami's spot here. He has
Yeah.
a lot of Dream Portals still remaining. That's a dead card. Two Moonfires, another Dream Portal, but nothing actionable. He needs a Rush minion. Taunt
Zixor
minion.
in his deck, by the way.
A taunt minion!
And there's the Zixor. He's got Lifesteal as well, which not insignificant. Both Blade Nets are gone. I don't think Firebat really has a way to get through this Scalable Dragon. Yeah, this is... That's game. Wow. Wow. What a weird game. A very weird game.
I mean, that was pretty crazy, back and forth. It did come down to a lot of those dream portals, but that's the reason why we play that card in the deck, to have an opportunity to do something like that. That's why Ysera Unleashed is such a powerful card in Druid, because it gives you alternative win conditions if the primary one does not work, and you do ramp very often to get to that point.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable come from behind victories here today throughout Grandmasters. It just feels a lot like there's just never a moment where you can truly count yourself guaranteed to win, or if you're out, because there just seems to be wild swings back and forth.
Yeah. And Firebat still on the Demon Hunter for this next game. Rami has either his Temple Mage or his Demon Hunter to fight back with against it. A little bit different construction of the Demon Hunters overall. Rami playing Penflinger and Magtheridon in his version, whereas Firebat going for Consume Magic and Altruis as his kind of tech inclusions. There's like a couple flex spots in Soul Demon Hunter. Not that many now. The lists are getting quite similar. Players are starting to figure out the deck. You kind of talked about that earlier, but I think at least Firebat can fall back on the Soul Demon Hunter versus Tempo Mage matchup, because I feel like that's a good matchup for him. But Rami's going to go with the Soul Demon Hunter Mirror to start things off. Magtheridon in this case I think can be pretty huge, just because it takes a lot for the Demon Hunter on the other side to deal with a 12-12. While you can consider like Blade Dance hard removal, you oftentimes need to attack into a 12-12 and also Blade Dance in order to take it out, which can be pretty tough to take 12 damage and be okay with it. But we'll see. We got to see the Penflinger tech in action. Got to see it in Europe a little bit. Was quite pleased.
Now, you dare speak
Now we get to see the other end.
Yeah, that Penflinger tech that you hyped up, TJ. We'll see if that ends up being the silver bullet for this matchup. Let's go to Demon Hunter Mirrors. Game number 4. We saw how close Firebat was to closing out that game, but so many times we saw that like Demon Hunter not having that early game foundational damage end up being super impactful here. Firebat once again with no early minion play, and Rami kind of debating how much he wants to hold on to some of these other cards that are swingy for tempo. He is on the coin, which means that he's inherently a little bit more reactive than proactive. I do like the idea of Marrow Slicer in the opening hand, but he chooses to throw it away. He just wants a better opening start, and he picks up a pretty similar hand. In fact, I think 3 out of the 4 cards are exactly the same. So,
yeah,
I guess nothing real great to look at.
Ooh,
wow.
Nice.
There you go.
1 drop.
Yeah, Spirit Jailer on 1. So, these early game skirmishes could end up being very similar. Spirit Jailer and Soul Shear tend to be very even, but now Rami's like the one being proactive. However, he missed his 2-drop, no Wandmaker or anything, so now Firebat's back in the driver's seat, but looks like he doesn't have anything else to do himself, so might just end up passing here. And then Rami has the ability to use the coin to take that proactive stance.
It's like they're drawing almost the same cards. They both had Soul Shears, Twin Slice, Marl Slicer, and Blade Dance in the opening hand, and then they both drew Skull on the same turn.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, they are playing the same deck, so it's bound to happen. Very curious as to how Rami wants to do this here. I think coining out the Marrow Slicer does make sense to me, just because you have the ability to play on curve here and pressure your opponent. He wants to go for the cane. I guess it's because it's more permanent damage. You can get 2 attacks with the cane potentially, but Marrow Slicer, you only get 2 attacks.
Yeah.
But you kind of play something for Marrow Slicer to attack. That's the reason why I don't like this as much as the Marrow Slicer.
The Marrow Slicer not attacking your face honestly seems fine. Like, you're netting 6 damage from the cane essentially, and you get to follow that up with more damage. Firebat's going with the Eldrazi Warblades first here to kind of heal this up. Eldrazi Warblades just goes up considerably in potential as the game progresses. Ooh, Soul Fragment drawn. Doesn't want to draw the other one. Okay, doesn't. Still play Soul Shard Lapidary.
Such a beautiful shield.
This right here is a lot of wasted healing. 6 overheal.
Yeah, but it's pressure, and it's still a 5/5 that you guys have to deal with, and the overheal might not matter if it ends up coming to just a count to 30 battle, which might be the case here if Rami doesn't have any other healing to go with this. It's definitely one of those things to think about if Rami wants to even Blade Dance this to not take the 5. Well, I guess he has the Penflinger. Oh, the Penflinger's sick. Okay, DJ.
It's so sick, Dan. It's a play it again, gets a Twin Slice, it's just efficient damage. Honestly, though, that's a little fancy. Blade Dance seemed cleaner, but then maybe he doesn't have removal for the following turn. It does get some cards out of the left side of his hand, which is important because he's trying to get to Skull, but Blade Dance seems harder to use in that case than Twin Slice. So actually, if we're going by my argument, then it'd be better if he did it the other way around. Yeah, if he went with Blade Dance last turn, he could get an opportunity to isolate this turn.
Yeah, and now he has to play Shard Shatter Mystic just for tempo at this point.
Yeah.
Which is just not great. But the race is on, TJ. However...
Yeah. Firebat's winning this race.
Oh, jeez. Glazebound Adept off the top. And he can even Soul Shear afterwards. And you can just see Rami feeling pretty uncomfortable with this entire ordeal. Does not even have... does not have a weapon equipped for Blade Dance to immediately be played. Finds Skull Dan off the top, but I think he probably wants to go for the guarantee here. Which, actually, what's the best way to go about this?
He could go like Penflinger, Second Slice, Penflinger Face. Or no, Penflinger, Second Slice, Penflinger, Blade Dance.
I think I'd rather just Shard Shatter Mystic and Penflinger.
Well, he wants to.
Yeah, he has now cast a Skull in position. First draw fragment. One Maker, Soul Shear. That works.
Penflinger, Soul Shear.
I mean, it's great, but is it good enough?
Yeah, he needs Eldrazi Warblades.
You don't pick the ones, see?
Firebat's got it. Mana Burn. Both players having Mana Burn. Very interesting here. I like it from Firebat's perspective, and you can even push damage here right now with the Warblades and just set up a situation where Rami has to have some kind of defensive maneuver. And he can immediately Blade Dance and Skull Gul'dan next turn.
Yeah.
Good sequencing to make sure that he has maximum charges of the Warblades. Like, Therodon's not useful here. Maybe Rami wants to mana burn right back. First gonna mana feeder Panthera. Has the Penflinger, mana burn, Penflinger. What I'm seeing, so he can push damage. Oh, it's so weak to Blade Dance.
Yeah, everything he does is weak to Blade Dance. I really wanted to cast the Blade Dance, Rami's Blade Dance, for a long time. Because I feel like he needs the second skull to find the Warblades. As good as I think Penflinger is, maybe tunneling on the Penflinger a little bit too much, try and eke value out of it, where value's not really how this game goes. There we go. Finally Blade Dance used. It's about like efficiency of damage and making sure that you're one step ahead of your opponent in regards to damage. Sociologist Militia, there are 4 soul fragments in Firebat's deck, so seems pretty good to me.
Yep, I like it a lot. Capitalize on that while you can. Sociologist Militia presents that 2-turn lethal anyways. Firebat can actually go for this swing so that he can potentially draw lethal off the top as well. Cash in that second slice while he's at it. Rami's at 6th life. Magtherodon can come and maybe give Rami that shot in the arm that he's looking for. But still doesn't kind of change the fact that he might be hanging by a thread.
Okay. We can go Shard Shatter Mystic, Penflinger, second slice Penflinger, Aldraki Warblades.
Okay,
That's
swing.
one. That's exact mana utilization, I think.
Yeah, I like it. And it also gets his lifesteal back up to 10, which is huge.
Yeah.
I guess the way I thought of it too is that Magtherodon presented 12-12, but yeah, this bounces him back up to 10 is huge here.
Bounce it back up to 10, and he does have some ways to capitalize on this even more next turn with Soulshard Lapidary. But Firebat's going to have a chance to get a hit here on resources. Picks up Marrow Slicer. Soulfire picked up right away.
Poor warlock.
Consume Magic, not the greatest. Kane, that's cheap damage. Another Soul Fragment.
Alas, poor warlock.
Okay, well, didn't really... I guess that is a lot of damage. I was going to say, didn't really pick up too much damage, but... Meaning he didn't pick up his Altruist plus a bunch of cheap stuff or his Soulshard Lapidary. But still going to put Rami down to 4.
Okay, I mean, Rami does have the Soulshard Lapidary himself, but the problem is that takes up almost his entire turn.
So, Rami does have 4 Soul Fragments. He has a Twin Slice. I'm trying to look at like weapon buffs in his deck, but honestly, there wasn't much in the ways of like just straight up weapon buffs. Now he can't play Soulshard Lapidary, even if he picks one up. Draws, what is that, all of his Soul Fragments? What the heck?
Okay. Okay, well, there you go. That's one way to stay alive, I guess, right? Getting all that healing. So he's at 15. Firebat has 3, 4 from the Hero Power, 8 from the Marrow Slicer, 13 from the Soulshard Lapidary, but he doesn't have enough mana to play all of that.
Yeah, because the mana burn.
Can consume magic to try to draw a card here and see if he can find, like, I don't know, Chaos Strike or something. to add just a little bit extra damage. That Twin Slice would be huge. Ooh, Gladebound Adept as well.
That is just so much damage.
Right. That is 5 from the Lapidary and 8 from the Gladebound Adept and the attack from the second swing of the Marrow Slicer, which is 13. Rami has the Draki Warblade and the Lapidary, which gives him 15. But he has to kill this Kayn, so he has to Blade Dance this Kayn.
Oh, this is getting so weird. It's like the last game all over again.
Firebat draws Twin Slice, is that enough? No.
Yeah, he has Twin Slice. No, he wouldn't have enough mana. Soul Fragment?
Rami drawing all the Soul Fragments kept him barely alive. So is it for Firebat. All the Soul Fragments. Okay. So he can't kill him, but he can certainly make life difficult by playing the Gladebound Adept. But he drew all but one of his Soul Fragments, so he has to play the Spirit Jailer this turn, which I think is fine. Actually, he doesn't have to play it this turn. He can play it next turn to guarantee that he has the Soul Fragments.
Yep. That was his last Soul Fragment.
Oh no. Sociologist is not really relevant anymore.
He has Twin Slice, Chaos Strike, Wand Maker, Lapidary, and 2 Gladebound Adepts.
Okay, we'll take the Chaos Strike. That's a really good one. Okay, we'll use that to answer the other Gladebound Adept.
It goes back up to 12. Firebat has a good amount of damage. He also has a Skull left in his deck. Chaos Strike, okay, start with that. That's 7, 8, 9 damage total. He picks up Twin Slice. That is enough mana to be able to utilize those.
Twin Slice or
oh no! If he picks up both Soul
for
Fragments,
Twin Slice. Nope, just one.
You don't pick the
Wand Maker. Double jump.
That draws Skull.
Yeah, it draws a Skull for next turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this turn's about the Lapidary.
So you just push the damage, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
You're leaving 8 on board. But that comfortably leaves you at 10.
There's no way it's right to trade into this Gladebound Adept, right? Putting it down to 4. Oh, he just wants to not top. He doesn't want to draw that. He wants to draw the Skull with
he doesn't
so
want to top
guarantee
the Skull.
it. Yeah.
So Rami does have some lethal outs here. If he picks up Chaos Strike off the top, nope.
Wand Maker could give him Twin Slice. Mana burn. Okay, I think he has the Marrow Slicer here.
Yeah, he is very likely dead. Firebat needs 2 damage from his deck. He gets a natural draw. He has Altruist, Chaos Strike, and Twin Slice in the deck as damage. He also has Mana Feeder Panthera, which if he draws 0 from Skull, means that he will likely hit damage. There's only like 1 sequence of outcomes, or 2, where Firebat doesn't find lethal off the Skull. It is incredibly likely.
Yeah. Firebat's so close to the finish line. That's not a draw that he's looking for, though. Skull Gul'dan. Find
Twin Slice. Easy.
Damage, and Twin Slice is it. That's going to do it for this series. Very close one. Oh, Firebat. That's just rude. Going the full distance just to show him all the cards. And
so
that's going to do it for the 5th series in a row. Firebat has beaten Rami this season. Rami really gave it his best shot, but the first couple games did not look competitive at all. And then Rami really tried to bring it back. So that does it. And Firebat improves his score to a 2-2 record. And Rami falls to 2-2. So TJ, we talked about how the standings are looking real tight. I mean, none tighter than after today's standings update.
Yeah. And even though like the first 2 games just seemed, kind of out of Rami's control almost, Firebat did play just a clean series overall, I feel. Which again, I said, Dan, I wanted a palate cleanser after that, the series between Saiyan and Bloodyface, and I think I got it there. Just some nice, clean Hearthstone play, some crazy games, but not crazy to the point of I want to pull my hair out the little bit that I have. So nice way to cap off the day.
Yeah, that's right. So